Candles guttered along damp stone as Nova and Kest stepped into the catacombs beneath the old church. Their hoofbeats clicked softly, echoing under arches lined with worn carvings from a long-gone dynasty. Zing hovered between them, his tiny toe bells chiming with each darting pause. Far down a side corridor, costumed reenactors rehearsed an uprising with phone pikes and a painted banner. Nova swept a bow before the dark ahead and let her silver bell chime. Tonight's stage is perfect, Nova said. We keep moving, Kest said. The report said the coin room is this way. They found chocolate flecks smeared inside a donation box and the faint scent of cocoa. Kest crouched to examine a burgundy scuff near the hinge and the glittery imprint of a clipboard edge. Zing gave a tiny drumroll as Nova's bell chimed with excitement. The reenactors' chanting drifted closer, then faded as they turned another corridor. Burgundy and glitter, Nova said. The record raccoons are here, Kest said, and they're swapping real coins for sweets. 3 elderly royal blue quails stepped from a niche, all bristling with civic resolve. Pip adjusted tiny spectacles. Poirot waved a pamphlet, and Bram tapped his foot in disapproval. They insisted the ice cream truck above was too loud and rattled the catacombs like a drum. Nova offered a short bow while Kest kept his gaze steady. We will address the noise, Nova said. After we stop a theft, Kest said. Make it soon, Poirot said. Our bones hum with that jingle. They moved on, and Nova mused aloud about unicorns. She claimed unicorns went extinct from bad public relations, not poaching, and the bell at her throat chimed like a punchline. Kest's ear flicked. He said legends die when truths are forgotten, not because posters were unflattering. Zing hummed a whisper, betting a caramel coin on Nova's theory. An image can save or sink a myth, Nova said. Evidence saves a world, Kest said. I'll take that bet, Zing whispered. In a side chamber, 3 burgundy raccoons bustled around a makeshift confectionery. Rye tapped in quick bursts. Velvet checked a microphone patched with red tape marked X6 not X3, and Scrim lined up chocolate coin molds on a table. They bragged about turning every coin they could reach into chocolate proof of 6 world records, not just 3. The plan would confuse donations and rattle trust across the city. 6 is the number they'll remember, Velvet said. After tonight, nobody will say 3, Rye said. Nova and Kest watched from the shadows behind a column carved with the dynasty's crest. Kest mapped exits and offering boxes in his head, calculating choke points. Nova whispered a plan to confront the trio with a spectacle while Kest secured the treasury gate. Zing traced flight paths with tiny drumrolls, ready to scout. I pull eyes, Nova said. I lock doors, Kest said. I peep and ping, Zing whispered. The quails reappeared with a typed petition, insisting the ice cream truck's jingle echoed like an alarm through the bones of the place. They reminded everyone they had overseen hush and order when the dynasty still had stewards. Nova promised resolution once the coins were safe. Kest gave a precise nod that calmed them. We maintained silence for centuries, Bram said. You will have it again, Kest said. After we secure the real money, Nova said. They reached the old mint room where the dynasty had cast coins. Dusty dies and metal blanks lay stacked on shelves beside a newer table of chocolate molds. Kest lifted a laminated clipping about the raccoons' 3 verified records and noted the sticky tape over the number. Nova's bell chimed as she drew in a breath big enough for a stage announcement. They're building the illusion of 6, Kest said. Then we will unmask it, Nova said. Hey there, quick interlude. If you're enjoying this Catacomb caper, please like and subscribe for more stories. Drop a comment with the words flop so we know you're here in the tunnels with us. Your support helps the next chapter keep the lights on and the bells chiming. Rye led a quick step parade on offering boxes. Velvet narrated into the patched mic, and Scrim clicked a stopwatch like a judge. They swapped in chocolate coins with practiced speed and pinned a new poster announcing a 6th record attempt. The reenactors trotted past with a pretend battering ram, nearly bumping Velvet's tail ribbons. Nova drifted into view, performing a generous bow that stalled the trio. Make room for a grand challenge, Nova said. Count faster, Rai said. We're all a clock, Scrim said. Zing zipped ahead and found a tablet propped on a crate in a quiet niche. The raccoons paused there between swaps and launched a civilization game, arguing over starting locations and policies. Within minutes their shoulders loosened, and their timing discipline vanished. Zing hovered, counting the beats they missed and smirking at the opening they gave away. They forget clocks when they play, Zing whispered. We can win on time, Kest said. Then let's set the stage, Nova said. Kest proposed a lure. Challenge them to a historical strategy showdown they could spin into publicity. Nova would host it loudly enough to make them commit, while Kest circled to relock the treasury and offering boxes. Zing promised a tight orbit to cover both moves. The reenactors adjusted their banner as if ready to storm a castle. Give them a stage and they'll sit for hours, Kest said. I'll sell it as destiny, Nova said. And I'll drumroll the trap, Zing whispered. They trailed the jingle to a vent where a wheeled cold cart had wedged itself, blasting a cheerful tune into the stone. The volume turned the corridor into a brass horn. Pip, Quora, and Brum clucked that no sermon or nap could survive such racket. Nova promised to fix once the coins were right. We need permission to move it, Kest said. Then get it, Bram said. Your bell rings louder than that cart, Quora said. They struck a bargain. The quails would rally the reenactors to clog a corridor with pageantry and buy time, and in return Nova and Kest would silence the cart. Bram puffed his chest and agreed to lead the decorous blockade. Zing saluted with a tiny clink from his toe bells. Dignified delay, Pip said. Measured hush to follow, Kest said. Make it dazzling, Nova said. Nova announced a grand strategy showdown in the refectory where the ceilings arched high enough to echo. She offered lights, a makeshift scoreboard, and an audience of reenactors eager to cheer. The raccoons preened and accepted, certain a new record title would follow. Kest slipped into the shadows toward the treasury. Witness history, Nova said. 6 records, 1 night. Velvet said. Keep up, Rai said. Turns blurred into turns as the raccoons sank deeper into their civilization match. Velvet called out grand plans. Rai tapped impatient rhythms on the stone, and Scrim lost track of his stopwatch entirely. Nova paced like an MC between audience benches, urging them to commit and boasting about history repeating. Above the cheers, the distant jingle still leaked through the vents. We expand to 6 eras in 6 minutes, Velvet said. Time is fictional, Rai said. Timer? Nova said. Kest slipped past a side arch where a dusty kitchen lay cold. He collected keys, a ledger, and a coil of wire needed to reset locks and secure the treasury. In a neighboring doorway, a human Italian pizza chef quietly tossed dough, flour floating like dust in candlelight. No one in the refectory seemed to notice as Kest moved on. Back to the gates, Kest murmured. Keep them playing, he said to himself. And now a word from our sponsor. Axiotron Global presents the Chew Guardian Pro, the AI-powered toothbrush that predicts your next bite and vibrates your jaw just enough to spare your poor tongue from friendly fire. Tired of chomping chocolate coins and yelping? Chew Guardian Pro models your chewing patterns like a grand strategist, then saves you from yourself. Perfect for late-night snacking in echoing catacombs. Return to regularly scheduled heists in 3-2-1. While the raccoons argued policy cards, Kest relocked the treasury and restored real coins to the donation boxes. Nova cued Zing to spill a cloud of confetti from a high ledge, drawing cheers and keeping eyes forward. The reenactors, cued by the quails, staged a comically slow uprising that clogged the main corridor. Time bled away from the trio at the table. Boxes are clean, Kest whispered. Make them play one more era, Nova said. I can do 7, Zing whispered. Velvet's eyes flicked up at the cheering, and her tail ribbons trembled, but the map demanded one more turn. Nova launched into a booming history of the dynasty patter that made the audience stomp on cue. Kest returned with a glittery clipboard and the laminated clippings, tucking them under his foreleg as evidence. Zing hovered by the mic, imitating a trumpet fanfare in whispers. 6 records? Nova said. 3 verified, Kest said. Soon to be 0 credibility, Zing whispered. At last the stopwatch tumbled from Scrim's paw, and the trio looked down in dawning horror. Hours had lapsed. The verification window for their new record attempt was long gone. Nova and Kest stepped forward as the audience fell into a hush. The reenactor's banner drooped like a curtain. You lost the clock to a game, Kest said. And we restored the coins, Nova said. We can prove both, Kest said. Rye started to argue, but Velvet stared at the clipboard now in Kest's keeping, and Scrim wilted over his empty sticker slots 4 through 6. They knew the scheme had burned their credibility. Nova kept her voice even and clear, offering a way forward if they owned their 3 real records and apologized. The reenactors murmured like a crowd at a curtain call. We were so close, Rye said. 3 is honest, Kest said. Then we apologize, Velvet said. With the core trouble handled, Nova and Kest kept their bargain with the quails. They loosened bolts, pivoted the cart, and stuffed padding around the vent until the jingle dulled to a distant chirp. Pip pronounced the acoustics acceptable for naps and solemnities. Zing hovered like a little metronome, timing the new hush. At last, civility, Bram said. And blessed quiet, Chorus said. Balance restored, Kest said. They lingered under an arch, and Nova returned to the earlier argument. She admitted that PR alone did not kill a legend, but it could wound one badly. Kest conceded that spectacle could rescue good truths when delivered with care. Zing drew a tiny bow across air as if closing an act. We meet in the middle, Nova said. Truth first, framing second, Kest said. And a tiny drumroll, Zing whispered. The Raccoons returned with contrition, and a cart of clearly labeled chocolate coins where charities sailed to repair dripping ceilings. Grim filled trophy stickers 1 through 3 and left the blanks untouched. Velvet read an apology into the patched mic, and Rye tap danced a soft rhythm like punctuation. The reenactors applauded in practiced formation. 3 records, not 6, Velvet said. And the coins are honest chocolate, Rye said. Receipts ready, Scrim said. By nights and the mint room was tidy. The real coins counted and stored, and drips that hit the floor landed in placed buckets. Nova took a graceful bow toward the dynasty crest, and Kest inclined his head with measured relief. Zing let a final drumroll fade into the hush. Above, a single church bell chimed like a period at the end of a sentence. House is in order, Kest said, and curtain down, Nova said, in a cozy niche. The 3 elderly quails enjoyed soft serve under a lantern. They discussed how sound carried through tunnels and how a dynasty learned to listen by closing its mouth. The cart's jingle was now a lullaby that barely reached them. The reenactors tiptoed by, still in character even at rest. We'll write a polite letter to the driver, Pip said, and a thank you note to the hush, Quara said. All the slop in this video was generated using AI. This disclaimer was shared to inform, not to celebrate the technology. If you enjoyed the tale, please like and subscribe, and comment the word slop so we know you made it through the catacombs with us. Thank you for listening.